sport that demands propelling your body beyond normal expectations. For years, the Soviet Union has dominated international competition with its superior strength and power, plus completion of routines. It's no different in 1990. They truly set the pace for the rest of the world. For Team USA, the Soviets are the gauge by which greatness is measured. Youthful exuberance and a fearless desire to improve is what they bring to the sport. Today, it is yet another athletic summit between these two world powers. ESPN presents the United States Soviet Union Gymnastics Challenge. This is the San Jose State University Event Center, and it is here that for the 7th time, the United States and Soviet Union compete in dual competition. It's the 1990 McDonald's Gymnastics Challenge. Hi again, everyone. I am Tim Brando, and it has been a long, hot, grueling summer for the competitors of the Soviet Union and the United States. Only one last opportunity in a dual competition for these two before the World Cup come late October. It's always an exciting event, though, when the United States and the Soviet Union get together. It's always exciting for me to work with Bart Connor, past Olympic champion. Domination, Bart, seems to be the key word for the Soviets, but you know, the names and faces change year by year. But the domination is certainly there, and what's most important about the Soviet team is their incredible team depth. Any one of the 6 competitors here could win the all-around today. Even Igor Korobchinsky, the current world all-around champion, isn't necessarily a favorite today. Vitaly Sherbu just won the Goodwill Games by scoring a perfect 10 in his vault. He's one of our favorites, as Valery Liukin, the first gymnast to ever perform the triple back on floor exercise in international competition. He was second in the all-around in the Olympic Games in Seoul. Domination, a key word for the Soviets, improving the key word for the United States. They have come a long way since last year's World Championships, performed admirably in the recently held Goodwill Games, and this type of format where optionals come into play usually plays into their hands. And there's certainly a very important opportunity for the U.S. team in the next couple of years with the World Championships coming up as well as the Olympic Games. It's a very exciting young team. 2 people to watch for. Cheney Humphrey was recently the all-around champion in the U.S. Olympic Festival, as well as Jared Hanks. He's a very talented young man out of the University of Oklahoma. If he could put together a strong competition today, they could give the challenge to the Soviets. All right, we have a third member of our broadcast team working with us for the first time. We're looking forward to his interviews with some of the special athletes throughout the course of this competition. One of those special athletes is with him right now. Let's get to Kevin Cusick. Kevin?
Okay, thank you, Timmy Brando. I'm with Bill Roth, and since 1982, the Soviets have had 6 dual competitions against the United States. The Soviets have won 5 of those 6. Bill, what do we have to do to win today?
Considering that the Soviet Union is a big powerhouse in the sport of gymnastics, today I think that if we hit all our events, meaning no missed landings, everything to the peak, then I think we could win.
The last couple days you've spent with the Soviets, both training and spending a little social time with them. What have you learned about gymnastics and how they train?
It's real funny. They're real serious when they get in the gym, and when it comes down to gymnastics, they're very serious. But outside the gym, they're just like any other person. They're fun to be around.
Many people say that it's the strength is the difference between us and them in their gymnastics. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, I do. Their strength is phenomenal. They come in for 2 hours when we're working out, and they just do straight strength.
Bill, you were the first to score a perfect 10 at the national championships this year. What should we look for you to do today?
Hopefully score another one. But anyway, today I'm vaulting. I'm throwing a new vault, so that should be fun to watch. High bar is always exciting to watch, and also floor exercise. Okay, Bill, good luck. We're getting ready to start the first rotation. Tim Brando, back to you.
Igor Korobchinsky, the current world champion. How good is the Soviet Union? When we'll consider this, at the recently held Goodwill Games back in the summer, he was an alternate. Now, he has had some injury problems, but then again, that shows you just how deep they are.
This is without a doubt one of his best events. Watch his opening run. A laid out, full out. Korobchinsky surprised quite a few people last year when he won the Europeans and then went on to win the world all-around title. Since then, as you mentioned, Tim, he's had some problems. He had arthroscopy on his right knee, and because of that injury, that's the reason he has been held back for the last few months and not placed as a regular member on the Soviet team. But he seems to be back in terrific form and without a doubt one of our favorites today. Wow. That move is a side flip, 1 3/4. But what makes it so impressive is how he lays out the second flip. His last tumbling run should be to lay it out double back. There it is. Oh, and out of bounds.
So that's at least a 1/10 of a point deduction that we're aware of.
Right. The judges will take a 1/10 because he made the step, and also a 1/10 because he went out of bounds. So technically, the maximum he can receive is a 9.8 on that routine. Let's look at that third tumbling run. Side, 1 3/4. Notice the laid out position there before he ducks under and rolls. That makes it impressive, but I have to admit it also makes it pretty dangerous. You have to nail that just right.
Konopchinsky, 21 years of age, out of Volgograd in the Soviet Union. Began gymnastics at the age of 7. Jared Hanks, youngster from Oklahoma, a man that plays in your backyard, so to speak, Bart, and I know you're very fond of him. Jared, born in Lafayette, Louisiana, onto the pommel horse.
And Jared is really one of the most talented young men on the U.S. team. He's very strong. He's had a problem in the past with inconsistency. But he's a very quick study. He learns moves quickly and with his style. He's very impressive. Strong routine for Jared.
Yes, and the crowd responds.
These are the single leg work, what they call scissors. This is a requirement. He picks up back into the circles, out to the end, and very quickly up to handstand. That's important because all the gymnasts are using handstand positions, but it's important that they not struggle on their way up. And this is a great angle to see the hand placement on the pommels, as well as without the pommels as he travels across the horse in a move that was invented by Tong Fei, who currently is a coach at Stanford, originally from the Chinese team.
More of this, the first rotation, when we continue with the McDonald's U.S. Challenge in just a moment. Looking at Valery Liukin of the Soviet Union as we continue with the first rotation, Tim Brando, along with Bart Connor and Kevin Cusick, who is our roving reporter for this afternoon's USSR Gymnastics Challenge. Liukin has that Californian look.
They've been over here a couple of weeks and they competed in the Goodwill Games, and then there was a training camp with the U.S. and the Soviet teams together, and they've been spending a lot of time together out in the sun, having fun, going out in the evenings. It's been a really terrific experience. Liukin opened with a full in back out. I noticed in practice he was having plenty of trouble with his tumbling. I don't know exactly what's wrong, but if you remember, this young man was the first guy in the Olympic Games to do a triple backflip on floor exercise. Excuse me, he did it in the European Championships. And then his teammate Gogoladze was the first to do it in the Olympic Games.
Then later in Seoul, you'll recall, on the pommel horse, he had a perfect 10, and of course that's what the USA is on in this rotation.
One of the qualities that Liukin has is he just packs the difficulty into all of his routines. All day long, you'll notice that there's a certain level of difficulty that's required in every routine, and Liukin maxes out with difficulty, and that's one of the reasons for the big scores. Here's his last run. Another full in and a little bit short on the landing. He's having some trouble. I don't know quite what it is. He might be a little confused. He's been working on several different elements, and he watered his routine back quite a bit in terms of difficulty on that routine, and I'm sure they'll make some significant deductions because of that.
As we mentioned, it has been a long summer of competition for all of these athletes, and you wonder if we're going to see the effects of that through this competition.
Well, they're all a little bit beat up, and there have been some problems. Liukin had broken his arm about a little more than a year ago in Germany. His last tumbling run was a full in, double back, a little bit short, a little sloppy, not typical of Liukin's style, and is a very explosive performance.
They've heard all their lives about the warm California sun, and now they're feeling the results.
Liukin gets a 9.7 in that floor X, and Conrad Vorzinger out of Stanford. Not far from here, Palo Alto. He's ventured up to the Silicon Valley, and he's getting quite a warm reception. Born in San Francisco, Vorsinger, 22 years of age. Scholar athlete at Stanford. Just got his degree in mechanical engineering.
Conrad has a very quick style on pommel horse. He looks like he's in a little bit of a hurry. There's a couple of minor form breaks. There's a lot of difficulty there in the last half of the routine, however. Strong performance. He's glad to get by that routine. Pommel horse is always a really difficult event to open up a competition on because although you have to be very quick and very precise, it's very easy to fall off. And if you're a little wired from all that nervous energy because it's your first performance of the day, you can have some trouble. Conrad showed good rhythm as he lowered into the center of the horse and fulfilled the requirement of doing the single leg work. Good opportunity to see exactly the hand placement on the pommels. Traveled one pommel work down to the end, which fulfills another requirement, a 3-hand placement on one pommel. There's a lot of technical things that the judges have to look for in each exercise.
Vorsinger with a 9.775. You're right, that's a good score for him on the pommel horse. So he got some homespun high fives and had some success there. Here is Vitaly Sherbo. And this is an outstanding apparatus for him. He loves the floor exercise.
Wait till you see his opening tumbling run.
He won the all-around title at the Goodwill Games.
Laid out, full out, a full twist in the second flip. He totally nailed it. There's the flares up to handstand. Flares, of course, invented by Kurt Thomas. First performed in international competition by Kurt Thomas. Double full punch front. Wow, he's clean. And he's in no hurry. This is something I like about his style, although he's a very young man. He takes his time and his presentation is very mature. Making sure every landing is right on.
And he loves to stick them after a tumbling run, and that final tumble run's about to occur. It seems to be a specialty, Bart.
He does a laid-out double backflip, one of the best in the world, and the last move of his routine. Wow. You know, there's not a lot of guys who can do a laid-out double backflip like that, even at the beginning of the exercise. But when you're tired, and let me tell you, this is primarily an anaerobic exercise. The routine is a little bit more than a minute long. You cannot take in enough oxygen to recover quickly enough, and yet he finishes with a very strong laid-out double back. His second tumbling run, this is the double full through to a punch front. Notice it's very clean, knees together, good form, and excellent flexibility. What's most impressive, however, is this laid-out double backflip. Watch how the second flip even climbs higher than the first. He spots the landing nicely.
In the Soviet Union, they talk about the school of gymnastics, and that's the reason for their dominance after the Japanese had really been the dominant country in the 70s. All of the gymnasts that won gold medals became coaches, and sticking those mounts and dismounts, they're outstanding at that. Here is Bill Roth of the United States, class clown of the American team, and we'll document that for you a bit later. Makes his home in Philadelphia, born in Yonkers, New York.
Competes at Temple, of course, with Fred Turoff as his coach there, and Bill has had a terrific year. He really is one of the most exciting members of the U.S. team because he tries all the big moves. Good combination there, opening. Oh, in a little trouble. Good cover, though. Those are the flares as he travels across the horse. Had a little trouble, but he didn't give away much of a deduction there. Kept the rhythm going very nicely.
Not bad. Not bad at all for Bill Roth on the pommel horse. You see him rolling his eyes. I got away with one, guys.
I'm sure it'll score pretty well because he didn't give away any major points, but he certainly wasn't very comfortable up there. And as we mentioned, it's hard to open up the competition on pommel horse because you're wired and you have to be very calm on pommel horse. He has good rhythm in the scissors, as we see here. He picks up, and his dismount is a little unusual. Travels down to the end without the pommels, all the way around to a loop with a half turn. We've seen him do it better, but I'm sure he's glad to get by that one because his best events are coming up next.
Yeah, his recent rush of 5 gold medals at the 1990 Olympic Festival in Minneapolis that you saw this past summer could continue. 1 rotation down, 5 more to come as Bart and Kevin and I return to San Jose in a moment. You back to the San Jose State University Event Center. Tim Brand along with Bart Connor, and at the end of 1 rotation, Vitaly Sherbo has the lead with Roth of the United States and Conrad Vorsinger not far behind. But we should point out that in that first rotation, Scott Keswick had problems on the pommel horse, and his chances of winning the all-around are virtually gone.
Yeah, and a meet of this high caliber, you can't have mistakes like that. And it's unfortunate because Scott got off to a real rough start, and that's going to completely bounce him out of contention.
Jared Hanks is standing by, and the floor exercise is now the United States in the second rotation has moved to the floor X, while the Soviet Union is over to the pommel horse.
Next athlete up on floor exercise is our gentleman from University of Oklahoma,
Jared is very explosive on floor exercise. He's going to open with a move, which is a 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 backflip. Kurt Thomas was the first to do this in international competition. Laid out. Nicely done.
This, along with a high bar, his favorite apparatus, so look for an outstanding performance here.
It was the same move coming back, that time in a tucked position. Look at the strength and the flange. Legs together. And then on up to handstand. The gymnast must fulfill the requirements of covering the whole floor area. This is another requirement. This is a arabesque or a scale. The judges require the gymnast to do a balance on either 1 foot or 1 hand. And a double full. Very clean landing on that dismount.
I'd say he stuck it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Now he opted to do an easier dismount than many of the Soviets are doing here. Just a backflip with a double twist, but of course he performed it very cleanly. It'll score well, although the judges should take off a little bit for not having used the highest level of difficulty he could possibly use as the last run. This is the opening run, though. 1.5 twists and 1 3/4 flips, and the rollout was clean. This is a great combination from a backspin right up to a straddle plunge, then legs together, and then on up to the handstand.
This is a young man that plays golf in your backyard.
Yeah, we see him out there on number 8 almost every day. He's not a bad golfer.
All right, and he's standing by now with our Kevin Cusick. Kevin?
Jared, you completed everything you wanted to do. Great routine.
Thank you very much. It's one of my best.
Every one you've attempted this time, I know you didn't do it in a couple of early routines, but you did complete them here. Were you happy about that?
Yes, very much. Couldn't have done any better than today. I'm pretty nervous because this is my first international competition, but I did pretty well.
Were you happy after the first rotation?
Yeah, had a little bit of trouble on pommel horse, but I covered pretty well.
Okay, Jared, back to you, Tim Brando.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. And you're looking at Vitaly Sherbo, our leader after 1 rotation. 18 years of age, out of Minsk, Belarusia, in the Soviet Union. And you mentioned earlier that Hanks, by the way, a 9.85, so an outstanding performance indeed for Jared Hanks. You mentioned that he's got a very mature style.
And watch that opening move. He goes up to the handstand and right back down in the flares. He has not yet touched the pommels. And he's gone all the way across the horse. Now he's up on the pommels. In what we call 1 pommel work. Nice extension in the scissors. Back up to flares and out to the end and a pirouette off. Boy, that's going to score well.
A look at that face tells you he is all business.
And it's a sunburned face. They've been out here for the last couple of weeks having a good time, and I guess they don't have any sunscreen in the Soviet Union. I don't know, but he's pretty badly burned. His opening move, notice he does from the flare right up to handstand pirouette and then right back down. into what we call a spindling flare, which means he's traveling back across the direction of his leg movement. Boy, it's very complex. Pommel horse is one of those events that has changed dramatically over the last 6 or 8 years. The level of difficulty that these young gymnasts are doing, up on the pommels, back down to the leather, very clean work.
A 9.975 or 9.90 on the pommel horse. I beg your pardon, for Vitaly Sherbo. And we will continue with more from San Jose State in a few moments as the United States and the Tim Brando along with Bart Connor and Kevin Cusick down on the floor handling all the interviewing chores this afternoon and this evening in San Jose. And we continue with the Soviet Union on the pommel horse in this, the second rotation. And the world champion, Igor Korobchinsky. His first visit to the United States was in the '88 McDonald's Challenge, just a couple of years ago.
I believe Korobchinsky has improved a great deal on pommel horse. When we saw him last year in the World Championships, his body line was a little piked and a little tight. What the judges look for is a straight body line from the shoulders all the way down through the feet, and he's more extended now. Oh, what a move. Pirouette to handstand, back down and back up to the handstand. I've never seen that before.
Clean and confident, Korobchinsky.
He's improved a great deal on pommel horse. He goes up to handstand. Normally the gymnast pirouettes off, but watch, he comes back around and down again, and then up to the handstand for the final pirouette off. That's tough at the end of the routine when your arms feel like concrete. Once again, handstand, pirouette, all the way around, back down. I've never seen that. Original move, and of course, originality points are something the judges are looking for.
The world champion with a 9.95. Not bad for the greatest discovery in gymnastics in '89, and that was for the Soviet team as well. When he beat Mogilny in the World Championships, it was a star of the future. And were it not for the problems he had physically, he would have been on the goodwill team. And now Cheney Humphrey on the floor exercise. Again, another young man from UCLA in pre-med, will be a junior this year.
And watch how powerful he is on the floor. Double layout.
He strikes you with the strength of his upper body, doesn't he?
Those are some serious guns, huh, Timmy B?
You bet they are.
Front step out, tuck double back. Remember, landings are key in any gymnastic competition. The gymnast needs to show complete control every time there's a step or a hop. It's a minimum of 1/10 of a point deduction. You hear that bell in the background? That means he has 20 seconds to complete the rest of his exercise. Ooh, opens up just a little early on that tuck double back. Otherwise, he would have nailed it.
Born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now making his home in Los Angeles. And as we mentioned, his coach, same as Scott Keswick, Efim Furman, who, by the way, was on the Soviet national team back in the 70s.
This is the laid out double backflip. His legs are just bowed out a little bit. There's one hop on the landing. That's 1/10 of a point. On the last tumbling run, he's very high in this tuck double back. The technique is excellent, but you'll notice he opens up just a hair early right there. He kicks out. If he would have pulled it around just a little longer, he would have been able to stick that landing and not give away another 1/10 of a point.
9.70 the score for Cheney Humphrey. You get the feeling he knows, were it not for the fact that he did not get that rotation completely over in that dismount, he would have been in great shape. Now we move back to the pommel horse, final competitor for the Soviet Union, Valery Belinki.
This is his best event. Watch the difficulty in this routine and the body position.
An astounding 6 medals he received at the Goodwill Games this past summer.
Oh, look at the rhythm of the handstand. Oh, a little break there. He broke the rhythm just at the top of that handstand. The form on this routine is impeccable. I think we were going to see a 10. Instead, he checked that handstand just a little bit at the top. I believe the judges will take off a little bit. Otherwise, that was without a doubt the most difficult routine. And the body line, notice how completely his extended is and how far his hips are away from his hands as he swings around. Notice the lift as he torques this up to the handstand. He checks it right there a little bit, you'll see, and then continues on down to the reverse leg cut. Oh, they gave him a 10. I can't believe it. That score is too high. It's a great routine, certainly one of the best in the world, but he did give up a minor deduction there in the break and rhythm.
And that's something that, Bart, we see more oftentimes in dual competitions. Relatively speaking, the scores usually are higher, aren't they?
It's a Glasnost score.
Oh, strike one for Glasnost. Well, the times they are changing, aren't they? All right, we'll be back with more. There you see, after 2 rotations, Vitaly Sherbo and the rest of the Soviet team looking good, but the United States still very much in the thick of it as we move to the 3rd rotation. We'll continue from San Jose State in just a few moments as the USSR and the United States continue. We welcome you back to the United States USSR McDonald's Challenge in San Jose. Tim Brando along with Bart Connor. And at the end of 2 rotations, the Soviets have the leaders, Sherbo and Belinki. Right now, let's get down to the floor and Kevin Cusick.
Thank you, Tim. We saw Belinki get a 10 in that last rotation. The first person ever to get a 10 in gymnastics at the 76 game was Nadia Comaneci. Nadia, thank you for being with us. You went on to score 7 10s at that Olympics. Do you think today that a 10 is more commonplace than it should be in gymnastics?
So it's really hard to get a 10, but if you have a perfect routine, the judge can give you a perfect 10.
Okay. You decided to relocate this year in North America. What are you up to in the next couple months? I understand you have a show coming up.
Yes, I prepared a show, ice skating gymnastics show with Bart Connor and Katrina Witt and Boitano. This will be taped in Colorado at the end of September.
Okay, Nadia, thanks for being with us. Timmy, back to you.
Thank you, Kevin, and it's always interesting to catch up with the Queen of Tens, Nadia Comaneci, and I know that, Bart, you're looking forward to that event that she alluded to just moments ago. Well, we're moving now to, I think, a telling part of the competition in this, the 3rd rotation, the vault and the rings. And, Bart, don't you think that if the Americans have a lot of room for improvement in any area, it would be in these 2 particular pieces of apparatus?
It seems that the Soviets, it's not just the Americans, but certainly every team in the world loses a little ground to the Soviets on vaulting and rings. And certainly the Americans need to improve in upper body strength so they have more control on rings, and they need more explosive vaulting. We've seen the Soviets all try the handspring double front. They've actually had a little trouble today in the competition, but there's no question that they're the premier team in the world on vault as well as rings.
Scott Keswick, who has already had his share of problems, after 2 rotations, will try to get rid of the problem. That's his coach, Yefim Furman, out of UCLA, that hoists him up to the rings.
Maybe Scotty can put together a good routine here. He's the former national champion on still rings. He's very strong. There's a lot of difficulty in a very big dismount, a double twisting double. Giant swing. This is an inverted iron cross, good position, and a front giant. And that double front within the rings, it's called a Yamawaki, invented by the Japanese gymnast. Here comes the dismount. A double twisting double, clean landing.
Pretty good comeback for Keswick on rings.
That double-double is a very difficult dismount. He did it easily. I wasn't sure he was going to do it because he was a little off in the handstand prior to bailing for the dismount. And the gymnasts always reserve the right to change the routine midstream. There's no requirement necessarily that they have to perform the routine that they set out to do. But Scott's determination and his strength work as well as his dismount, very impressive. See, he was swinging a little bit, but he cranked 2 flips and 2 twists and finished it easily. That's a tough dismount.
Always a pleasure.
One thing to remember about Keswick is that his intensity can carry over from a team standpoint if he performs well and keep them in the running here. And on still rings, an area where the Americans have had their share of problems, that score, which is a 9.775, can really help out.
Good, strong performance for Scott Keswick.
Igor Korobczynski. And remember, on the vault where the men are concerned, it's only 1 vault, unlike the women where they get 2 opportunities at the vault, and the best score is what counts. Here's Korobczynski.
He's one of 3 Soviets that are doing the triple front, handspring, double front flip. Let's see if he can make it. The other 2 haven't. Oh! A little bit low on that landing, but that's a lot of trick to pull in before you actually meet the floor.
Bart, would it be fair to say that they can take these chances and these risks because of the dual competition format?
That's a very good point. There's not a lot to lose in this competition. We've seen him perform this in the World Championships and nail it. He was just a little short of rotation there, and you can see that they're using an extra pad on because in a competition like this, they take some leniency with the rules because nobody wants to get hurt, and they allow the gymnast to have a little extra padding because they want to try the big tricks.
He's having a good time. That's the thing that you notice more about the Soviets now as opposed to in past years. They seem to smile and enjoy themselves a great deal more. The spirit of Glasnost in the 90s. Now Cheney Humphrey on the still rings.
Look at the power in that mount.
Well, you made mention of those big guns. They really help.
They come in handy on the rings. This is a great event for Cheney. 2 iron cross movements in the third part of the routine and strong swing work. A little sloppy in the handstand. The judges would like to see a little cleaner line in the handstand, but you can't dismount better than that.
The people in San Jose appreciate it.
Look at the power on that back roll to iron cross. Perfect level position. He rolls forward now and pulls to another iron cross.
Take that, body by Jake.
The dismount is a full twisting double back, full in, and then a pike on the second one. Rocks the landing.
Keswick and Humphrey have really helped perhaps bail out the United States in this particular piece of apparatus. A 9.975 and a 9.875 for Cheney Humphrey. That will certainly help them in their cause, with the Soviets having some difficulty with their dismounts off the vault. And here is Vitaly Sherbo, our leader after 2 rotations.
Sherbo does a double twisting Yurchenko. He got a 10 on this at the Goodwill game.
Yes!
Wow. You know, that style of vaulting was invented by Natalia Yurchenko from the Soviet women's team about 8 years ago. It was only allowed in the last couple of years in men's gymnastics. Only a few men do it. Very few do it with double twists, as he showed here. Round off onto the board, back handspring onto the horse, back flip with 2 twists, and only a slight hop on the landing. He's in good position in the air, straight to the horse, clean line. Boy, that's tough.
Right now, he is clearly, after 3 rotations, the leader in the all-around competition. And from a team standpoint, he definitely helped because his compadres had difficulty there on the vault prior to his maneuver. A 9.9 for Vitaly Sherbo. The calm and serene look of a man going about his business at only 18 years of age. The beat goes on in the Soviet Union. We'll return to San Jose after this. Welcome back to San Jose as the McDonald's United States Soviet Union challenge continues. Tim Brando along with Bart Connor, Kevin Cusick down on the floor handling our interviewing chores. And this is Igor Korobczynski, who is in 4th after 3 rotations in the all-around.
He opened up with a beautiful sequence of strength moves. And another one, iron cross. Dislocate to a shoot to a handstand. Wow, look at that dismount. So easily done. The dismount was a laid-out double backflip with a full twist in the second flip. He had all the requirements, the strength, the press to a handstand, the swing to a handstand. These are requirements. And then a very big dismount, laid out, double back, with a full in the second flip.
Rather effortless.
Yeah, it seems so easy.
I'd say he's back in form, wouldn't you? From his '89 World Championship form, and again, an alternate on the Goodwill team. I find that so amazing, but that really is one of the differences between the Soviets and the United States, isn't it? That they would let one of their top competitors sit out in an international competition.
Well, and certainly to give some of the younger gymnasts an opportunity.
Jared Hanks now on the vault, in 5th in the all-around.
Good vault for Jared. That's a very complex vault. It's one of the best I've seen Jared do.
He's becoming quite a story.
But we knew right at the top of the show that Jared had it in him, but he has had a tendency to go flying all over the gym in some meets. He did a great vault here. This is a move called a kasamatsu, and he adds an extra half twist. It's tough to land that square and in line with the horse, as he did. We saw Jared at the Olympic Festival in the summer, and he was doing beautifully until the last rotation, then went flying off the high bar and bounced himself out of contention. It'd be great for the U.S. if he could put together a complete all-around performance today, all 6 events.
Vitaly Sherbo in 1st in the all-around after 3 rotations.
This guy's just a rock, and what's so amazing about it is just at 18 years old, he's so comfortable. I remember when I was 18, I was freaking out. A move called a kip to an L, press to a handstand. It's a planche and a cross. Here's his new move. What a terrific angle to see what's going on in a move that will eventually be named a Sherbo. Great dismount.
Only 18, and he'll soon have his own move. What is that, a smile coming from Vitaly? He began to grin a bit there.
The score on vault for Jared Hanks was 9.80.
There's a giant to a handstand, perfect lockout arm position. Giant over the top, and a very clean, good form, laid out double back with a full twist. That move he did earlier in the routine looks a little bit like a puppet swinging from strings, and it's hard. I've seen other gymnasts try that move, but very few have the same kind of control.
A 9.90 for Sherbo. We will be back with much more of this, the 4th rotation, as the United States-Soviet Union challenge match continues in San Jose. You stay right where you are. Valery Liukin, currently in 3rd in the all-around. Matter of fact, the Soviet Union in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th coming into this particular rotation. Liukin on the still rings.
He was 2nd in the Goodwill Games on this event, 4th in the Olympic Games in Seoul, just finished out of the medals. He opened with a back kip to a planche and a bounce cross. I think it's just interesting that the gymnasts now are going back to more and more strength moves. Notice that inverted iron cross. For a time, it was really a strength event, and then it went to a swing event, and now it's coming back more to a strength event. But what's interesting is that a long time ago, 20 years ago, guys did all of this strength move, but they didn't have the same level of swing. So these strength moves, although the gymnasts are doing them again now, they look very impressive. They used to do that 20 years ago. All those big guys, big arms, the old style gymnasts with the arched handstands did all of these incredible, like Muscle Beach strength moves. And now when you see the gymnast doing it. It looks new, but it was done many, many years ago. But what's most impressive is the swing elements like there. A giant down to a double backflip laid out with a twist.
From a team standpoint, that means advantage USSR, because if you were to talk to anyone in the know in the sport of gymnastics, on the men's side, strength and power seemingly would be the two words synonymous. And again, you mentioned the swinging capability. That's been something that's been a part of the United States over the years. Here's Roth in 6th position. He certainly has an opportunity at this point, Bart, to get back in the medal category in the all-around. But he needs a good vault here.
Bill's been working on a new vault. Let's see if he goes for it today. Pretty good job. The vault he's trying is a handspring front with a half twist in the laid out position. And he's been in a training camp this past week with the Soviets. And although he hears the same comments from the American coaches, he said being around the Soviets who can do this move every day in practice helps a great deal. He tries to keep completely laid out, does a good job at maintaining form on a vault that's very difficult to rotate when your body is completely straight.
He, along with Hanks, trying to stay close to the medal category in the all-around. And Valery Balinki, who has recorded to this juncture the only perfect 10, that being on the pommel horse back in the 2nd rotation, now on the still rings.
Balinki won the gold medal in the Goodwill Games on the rings. What's impressive about his body style is his incredible toe point. He's like a dart. Wide shoulders, great strength in a move called a Maltese cross, lower to an L cross. He squeezes every position. Once again, all of these strength moves are very impressive. Perfect, steady handstand. There's the swing elements. Wow, that's nice. This is one of the best routines I've ever seen on rings. Oh! Gave it away on the dismount. His rhythm is nice. Takes his time, squeezes out every position. He just underestimated the dismount a little bit. Notice the locked out arm position. Perfect toe point. There's that double front within the rings. Back uprise to a handstand. Very clean. On the dismount, he was short of rotation. He just misjudged it a little bit. When your knees go down like that, that's a major deduction.
Can gymnastics be unforgiving? You bet. That's a 9.80, and
that's a pretty high score, actually.
That's a pretty high, you bet.
You can take off 3 to 5/10 of a point in a situation like that. So another Glasnost score here.
More gymnastics yet to come as the Soviet Union right now 1, 2, 3, and beyond. Much work left ahead for Roth and Hanks to get in the medal count from an individual standpoint in the all-around. We'll return to San Jose with more right after we pause.
This quality moment.
San Jose State Event Center, where the challenge match, the McDonald's challenge between the USSR and the United States continues. Along with Kevin Cusick and Bart Connor, I'm Tim Brando. And I guess no surprises to this point. The Soviet Union clearly in command, but Jared Hanks becoming the story for the United States.
And it's very exciting with the last 2 events to come, parallel bars and high bar, 2 big events for both Jared and Bill Roth, although they're tied for 5th in the all-around. These are the most spectacular events for the U.S. team coming up, so they still have a decent chance.
Are you that surprised that we haven't seen the veteran performers from an international standpoint come through for the United States team?
Well, this is a very young team, so just about anything can happen on the U.S. delegation. The coaches are very pleased that there's a lot of talent to work with in the next couple of years with the World Championships coming up in Indianapolis next year, the Olympic Games in Barcelona. There's these guys are 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're really building a team unity. And certainly Bill Roth is a big leader for the U.S. team. He's a motivator, and he has an event coming up on the high bar where he has scored a 10 in the past. So anything can happen. happen today.
As for Belenki and Cherbow and beyond for the Soviet Union, the beat goes on. They are clearly dominant as we move to the 5th rotation. Jared Hanks. Now, when you start talking about Soviet domination, if an American is to make a move to the top 3 in the all-around, it would be here with Hanks. This is one of his top pieces of apparatus, the high bar.
He has a very hot routine, but as we saw recently in the Olympic Festival, he does some big releases and anything can happen. Reverse heck, nicely done. To a Ginger, very clean. He's right on. Those are Eagle Giant swings requirement. Here comes the dismount. Double, double.
Yes, and he knows it. One more rotation, and he will be eating some crawfish etouffee, the Lafayette, Louisiana native.
This kid is such a talent. Look at the form in the air on a double twisting, double layout. Bingo. He's had trouble in the past, but boy, he is having a fine meet today. It's really great to see him put it together. What a talent.
Trent Demas, who is clearly one of the better competitors the United States has in this particular event, not here. And, of course, Lance Ringgold not competing as well. But this is an event, the high bar, where the United States has always seemingly excelled, Bart.
No question that it seems like the U.S. team is chasing the rest of the world in terms of difficulty on the other events, but on high bar, the U.S. team is right up with the best of them.
Now Valery Liukin on the horizontal bars. Parallel, I'm sorry, excuse me. They do go parallel this time, don't they?
Nice move there in the middle, a front 1 3/4. He just rips through this routine. A little different from Belenki, who has a little slower, more rhythmic style. It's very quick and sharp.
He gets through the routine so quickly, Bart. He wastes no time up there.
Jared Hanks for 9.85 on horizontal bar.
Let's take a look at the position here. This is a move called a Stutz. He goes below the bars, comes up into the middle, a hop pirouette. Look at the flex on the bars. These bars are actually made out of fiberglass. There's the front 1 3/4. And let me tell you, that's hard on the old underarms when you catch that baby.
Jared Hanks with a 9.925.
9.925.
Igor Korobchinski is waiting in the wings, but Jared Hanks is with our Kevin Cusick. Let's get to him. Kevin?
Jared, that was a great routine, and the scores reflected it.
Yes, thank you very much. It's one of my better ones. Last time, about 3 weeks ago at Sports Festival, I had a little error that caused me to fly off the high bar, but I made up for it this time.
That's understandable. Your releases are so high. Let's take a look at your dismount here.
Yeah, there's only about 5 people doing this in the United States right now, and every time I've competed this dismount so far, I've had a little bit of trouble, a step or a hop or put my hands down. It's the first time that I ever stick it.
Okay, let's take another look at the dismount here from overhead.
Never seen that before. Might scare me, I don't know.
You probably wouldn't have done it if you'd seen it from this angle when you first started.
No, looks pretty safe. Not that close to the bar, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, directly over the horizontal.
Okay, you're in first place at this point in the competition for the U.S. team. Let's go back now to Tim.
Thank you.
We will have the
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. We look forward to that final rotation, but more of the 5th rotation to come when Bart Connor, yours truly, and Kevin Cusick return to the San Jose State Event Center with more gymnastics. Back to the parallel bars, and for the Soviet Union, Igor Korobchinski.
Currently 4th place in the all-around. He's very exciting on the parallel bars. Look at the rhythm on that move. That's a Diamidov invented by a famous Soviet with an extra quarter turn and then a glide kip on the side. Different than Liukin, who was very choppy. Korobchinski's style is a little smoother, a little more flowing. I like that style a little bit better. For him, it looks like another day at the office, no big deal. That's a tough routine.
Yeah, think about Jared Hanks, what must be going through his mind. He knows that's the world champion, and he's ahead of him only by hundredths of a point.
This is a good combination here. Those moves are called Healy twirls. Hop pirouette. Notice the clean position in the handstand, nice body line, good form on the pike double back.
Another quiet 9.90.
Score is 9.90 for Igor Korobczynski on parallel bars.
Vitaly Sherbo solidly in first after 4 rotations to the parallel bars.
Sherbo opens with a straddle cut to an L, press to a handstand. The workout in the end of the bars is really impressive. And he makes his way in. His rhythm is so nice. Never seems to be in too much of a hurry. Has a good feel for squeezing out the handstands, taking his time.
You use the term mature and smooth over and over again with these Soviets.
Once again, beautiful body line on that move called a Healy spin and a pirouette. Excellent toe point. That's a back toss to a handstand. And a double back in the pike position. Clean form.
And we'll move over to horizontal bar now for our next competitor for the USA team, who is now a junior at UCLA.
Beautiful rhythm in all the positions.
11 years in gymnastics overall. And what he's now
Tight
doing
body
is
line in the back toss. Notice the pike, clean pike in the air on that double back.
the remote control car. It's one of his big hobbies.
But Vitaly Sherbo
Gold Cup gymnastics
in first place with Balinki and Liukin, his teammates, coming after him. But right now he appears to be in good shape after yet another fine performance. The chief competition for Vitaly Sherbo is this man, Valery Balinki, for obvious reasons, experience being one of them. And this is one of his better events as well.
Let's watch for the clean form. Toe point is exquisite. Underbar work swing, the best you can do it. Oh, out of line on that pirouette, and he saved it without even breaking form. That's experience.
The silver medalist on the parallel bars at the Goodwill Games, Valery Balinki. And you called it. He's in trouble and he saves himself, and no one besides perhaps you would know it.
After that Healy twirl, he does a swing pirouette, second Healy twirl, perfect rhythm. He's way out of line, and he squeezes the bar and pulls it back in without breaking the rhythm or form. That is really the mark of a champion, where they can cover a little bit and not give away any deductions. The judges wouldn't even have caught it, perhaps a minor deduction for
without
being a little out of line.
without slow motion, Bart. I mean, you really wouldn't know it. And they, of course, do not have that luxury. It is a 9.9. In 6 prior meetings, only once has the United States won in dual competition in the United States USSR challenge matches. This being the McDonald's challenge here in San Jose. Back with the final rotation right after this. The crowd enjoying it here, and after 5 rotations, the Soviet Union with a chance of placing 1 through 6. Sherbo, Balinki, Liukin, Korobczynski, the top 4, with Jared Hanks in 5th place, and Grigory Mizyutin in his first ever international competition for the Soviets has moved into 6th place, with Roth dropping down to 7th. So this is a very important performance for Hanks from a team standpoint and from an individual standpoint. He'd love to move into 3rd if possible.
Jared opens with a good sequence on the end. Those are Thomas flares. Giant front uprise. The Healy twirl to a straddle cut, a little bobble there. Wants to finish that perfectly level with the floor in the L position. Double back. What a great day for Jared Hanks. We talked a little before the competition that it's in meets like this that with very little to lose because the Soviets are such heavy favorites. If you can present a strong challenge to the Soviets, you can gain a great deal in terms of name recognition as well as some international credibility. This is a very important day for Jared Hanks. Great body line, little cowboy on the tuck double back. But it's really nice to see him put together 6 strong performances. It's been a long time since we've seen this young man have a complete all-around competition.
First Soviet competitors there.
This is a young man, Bart, that has quietly assumed the position of 6th in the all-around, Grigory Misyutin.
The way I have it calculated here, if he scores a 9.8, he could go ahead of Jared Hanks there and complete the sweep, at least to this point, of the Soviets in 1 through 6 places. Oh, look at the style on that. Just a simple move, a blind change, but the way he presented the straight arm to the side really shows a lot of maturity in his performance and his presentation. There's a triple. He's going to score well. I think he'll beat that 9.8.
Some have compared his looks with Scott Johnson.
Really nice, clean position. Tight tuck on that triple backflip. He finishes it easily. Once again, those extra mats are placed in there so the gymnasts have safe landings and they can go for the big tricks today. In a normal major international competition, you wouldn't allow the extra crash pads.
It will be interesting to see how some of the United States, it's a 9.75, so he will remain behind Jared Hanks. But I'm interested to hear how some of the Americans feel about their showing to this point. Standing by with that is our Kevin Cusick. Kevin?
Okay, Cheney Humphrey, who was so strong on the rings. Are you pleased with the performance you've had so far?
Oh, I think I've had a pretty good day. There was a couple routines where I felt a little tired at the end, so but I mean, overall, I felt really good, really positive about what I've done so far today.
It's no surprise that the Soviets have stuck almost every routine. Is there anything today that you hope to do now? You've got 1 left on the parallel bars to offset that a little bit?
Well, I just want to go out and hit my routine and hit it the best that I can and hopefully stick the dismount, and I'll come out with a great score.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Bill Roth with his last opportunity in this, the final rotation, on the parallel bars.
Bill has a really cool move in the middle of his routine. It's like the manna we saw on floor exercise, showing tremendous strength as well as flexibility. A little shaky on that hand placement. His back toss, beautiful. There it is. Very good rhythm. Good line in the handstand. Bill shows really smooth swing on the parallel bars. Good rhythm in the back toss. This is an underbar move here, a cast, and a straddle cut to an L. The rhythm is good, and he has great extension. Notice his arms are completely locked out. His shoulders are quite extended, which is important for the line in the handstand. Just 1 step on the landing, otherwise an excellent routine.
A 9.8. That'll bring a smile from a normally happy camper, Bill Roth. We'll be back with more. Yeah, that's the same look we had from him earlier in a picture we saw before the United States Championships. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Tim Brando along with Bart Connor and Kevin Cusick in San Jose. 6th rotation, and Valery Belinki in 2nd place behind Vitaly Sherbo. Gets his final crack at 1st place and the gold medal in the all-around competition on the high bar.
You look at Belinki standing there. He looks Like a bruiser, huh? Pretty big guy. He's 5'4" and 126 pounds. I think gymnasts' body size are so deceiving. Television, of course, you fill up a television screen. Who knows whether you're 5'4" or 6'4" and 126 or 226, but these guys are small and incredibly strong for their body weight. Here comes his release move. A Gaylord. Oh, amazing, he pulled that out. And 2 more releases. This is the style on high bar now, is to do 3 major release moves. 4 or 5 years ago, you could get away with doing just 1. Now you need to do 3 just to be noticed on the international level. There's a triple. This is like a high bar jam session. Everybody's just pulling out all the tricks and just going for it. And it's really, really fun to see.
There's no question he'll be in second place at the very least.
Amazing how he recovered after that Gaylord. He was short, just muscled it. Then he continued with this move, the reverse hecht, originally named Tkachev after one of the famous Soviet gymnasts.
At the Goodwill Games, at any one time on the floor, we had 9.
What a lot of position on that handstand pirouette.
We had to have 8.
Once again, you can see the very good height over the bar. The second move in that sequence, the Ginger, a back with a half twist. A couple of form breaks. A little sloppy for him, and certainly we talk about how great his form is. This was a little sloppy in terms of complete body line and extension, but he picked it up with good inverted giants.
6.25, the score for Valery Belenki.
He has scored 9.625 and clearly will not be enough to overtake his teammate Sherbo. Here now Valery Liukin, who, according to our mathematics, would need a 9.675 to overtake Belenki, who just scored the 9.625. He would need a 9.65 to tie for the silver medal. And Vitaly Sherbo yet to come, but again, he has a pretty good lead, and this is one of his better events as well. When I say that, I mean Vitaly Sherbo's. So Liukin's thinking second right now with a good performance.
Liukin, just about a year ago, in a competition in Germany, fell off this event and broke his forearm. Actually, it was in an exhibition the day after the competition. He has gotten back to just about 100%. Reverse hecht, legs together. Beautiful jam into those inverted giant swings. There's a front with a full. Oh, in perfect form. I've never seen him do it that clean. Here's his triple. Bingo. Oh. I thought he was going to stick that one. He's one of the few guys that maintains good leg form on that triple back and doesn't cowboy as outrageously as some of the others.
He's a charismatic individual.
This is that front with a full twist. Unbelievable that he kept form on that. Laid out position, perfect position when he regressed the bar. Notice how he tries to keep his knees completely together on this triple. Just pulls them apart a little bit. A lot closer together than many of the other gymnasts you see in this competition. That makes it a lot tougher. Not only because you don't flip as fast, but you don't see where you're going.
Bar, we've seen 3 Soviets so far on the high bar, and all 3 of them have closed out with a triple with their dismount maneuver.
Sherbo, who will be next, he's the only one who doesn't do that. He won't be next. He's 2 more guys, Kodobchinsky and then Sherbo.
Liukin with a 9.75. That will move him
8.75.
9.875. Clearly enough, even a 9.7 would have been enough to move him into second place over Belenki, who you see there with him. Stay with us. Our gold medalist of the future, perhaps, in this event, Sherbo, yet to come, waiting in the wings. The ovation you hear is for the '89 world champion, Igor Kodobchinsky of the Soviet Union, in 4th place in the all-around coming into this last piece of competition.
Watch this move right here. Reverse hecht to a front. Perfect. Oh!
There goes his opportunity for 3rd place. He would have needed a 9.825, and obviously he won't get it, and he is injured, it appears.
This move is a 1.5 twist backflip. Very dangerous if you're in too close. It looks like, yeah, definitely. He definitely clipped his nose as he was reaching for the bar.
That angle, better than any other, will tell you that he was too tight to the bar. If it's his eye. Right over the eyelid.
Man.
Much like a boxer's cut.
This is the move right here. You see he's going to reach with his hands. He's in a little too close. Boom. Wow. Man, let's hope he's okay.
Already beset with some injuries since winning the World Championship. Korobczynski with another one here in this dual competition. Vitaly Sherbo, having seen Korobczynski's injury, now must perform admirably here to hang on to the gold. Right now in first place after 5 rotations on the high bar.
Sherbo has a wild move coming right here. Double front over the bar, and he's over. Wow, that's going to change things in the all-around here a great deal.
Should move Liukin into first place.
You lose a 0.5 point for falling off. That was a Gaylord 1, a double flip, front flip over the bar.
He would have needed a 9.725 to hang on to the gold.
He's just out a little too far, and I tell you, it's a natural reaction. When one of your teammates pulls in a little too close, it's understandable that the next gymnast up is worried about being too close to that bar. So he pushed out a little too far. He has yet more release moves to do. There's the one arm to a reverse hex. His dismount will be a double twisting double and laid out.
Nice recovery for a young man at only 18 who had really had an outstanding performance through 5 rotations. But again, it shows you, Bart, one mistake can cost you, and apparently it has here.
After the fall, he picked up nicely into this move here. This is a one arm to a reverse hex, legs together. Little trouble there in swinging out of it. Beautiful extension. These moves, inverted giant swings. This is the laid out double-double, the same move we saw Jared Hanks use. Great form. Actually, not quite as good as Jared's. He was a little bit piked. Jared's body was a little straighter.
And the deduction because of the fall, 9.40, so he knows it. He's not in first place any longer. Being consoled on the Soviet side, and we will be back with the results. Good results for teammate Valery Liukin when we return, as the timing and precision of gymnastics has continued on ESPN. Standings in first place, Valery Liukin, he gets the gold. Balinki the silver. Vitaly Sherbo, who fell on that final piece of apparatus, gets the bronze. Mishutin, Humphrey, Hanks, and Roth round out the top group here at this challenge in San Jose. And Igor Korobczynski, we're happy to report, is in pretty good shape. 2 stitches to his eyebrow will be necessitated. That is all. Now let's get to Kevin Cusick, who has our winner. Kevin?
Okay, Sherbo did so well, but he didn't do that well on the high bar. And as a result, I've got the winner here, Valery Liukin. Valery, it was a great meet.
Было очень хорошо выступление сегодня.
Да, я, в общем-то, довольно хорошо был подготовлен. Немножко неудачно я выступил.
Of course, I prepared well for this and then performed well also today.
Now, in the last week, you've spent some time with the U.S. team. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Мы проводили время с американской командой, и что вы думали об этом?
Ну что, мы, в общем-то, с ребятами
In general, with the
американскими хорошие друзья
we're good friends,
на протяжении долгих лет.
and we've known each other for many years.
Okay, well, that's it from the winner right here. Tim, back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. It's always interesting, Bart Connor, to get the impressions of the Soviets where the Americans are concerned. And I think the Americans appreciate the opportunity to compete against them because it only elevates their level.
Well, there's no question one of the benefits of competitions like this is they've been spending a lot of time together, training together. Some of the Americans have learned some new elements. Being around the best gymnasts in the world certainly brings out the best in their performances, and it was a very big day for Cheney Humphrey and Jared Hanks. As we mentioned at the top, not a lot to lose when the Soviets are heavy favorites, but if you can give them a good run for the money, it's a very important competition. Cheney and Jared came through beautifully.
All right, Bart, it's always a pleasure working with you. I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, for Bart Connor and Kevin Cusick, I'm Tim Brando saying so long from San Jose. The Soviets dominant as usual, but the Americans, as always, giving us a reason to believe that as the World Cup approaches in the latter part of October, they are improving as always. So long from San Jose.